If you are listening to this at the end of a long day, perhaps your mind is still carrying too many sounds with it, thoughts that have not yet found their rest, questions that remain unanswered, and a familiar kind of tiredness, not only of the body, but of the awareness itself, always trying to understand, trying to control, trying to keep moving forward. Tonight, you no longer need to do that. This video was not created to teach you more knowledge, not to ask you to remember the names of concepts or keep pace with any line of reasoning. It is an invitation to step out of the hurried rhythm of ordinary life and enter a slow journey, very slow, where science softens and humanity's biggest questions are retold like a lullaby. In this space, you are not standing outside the universe observing it from a distance. You are inside it, carried by a structure far older than any worry you have ever known. As Carl Sagan once wrote, "We are a way for the universe to know itself." You do not need to understand that sentence right now. Simply let it pass through you like distant starlight quietly touching the mind. Let your breathing slow. Let your thoughts grow gentle. This journey does not ask you to stay awake until the end. It only asks that you remain here long enough to feel that you are being held. There are nights when, after every external sound has finally fallen silent, the human mind becomes louder than ever. Not because the outside world is still demanding something of us, but because within us, there remain too many things that have not yet found their closure. Questions about meaning, anxieties without names, and a feeling deeply familiar. Where am I within all these movements? The question may sound large, but tonight you do not need to answer it. Simply allow it to exist like a very thin cloud drifting slowly across the sky of awareness. If there is one thing you need to know right now, it is this: this space is safe. No one is asking you to understand. No one is testing your memory. There is no lesson to take notes on. Thoughts, if they arise, may come and go without needing to be held. In modern life, we are accustomed to being constantly alert. Alert to work, alert to react, alert so we do not fall behind. And yet we are rarely given permission not to be alert in order to exist. Philosophy in its deepest form was never born to make human beings more tense. It is not a competition of reason, but a very slow effort to help us realize that we are not alone in our own confusion. Marcus Aurelius once wrote in Meditations, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." That sentence does not need to be analyzed right now. You do not need to remember it. You do not need to understand what power means or where strength comes from. Just feel one very gentle truth: you are allowed to let your mind rest. Because while you are lying here, there is something that continues to unfold, steadily, slowly, and entirely independent of whether you are worrying or not. The band of stars keeps turning for no one, waiting for no one to understand it, needing no one to keep up. We often believe we must carry the world with our awareness. But the truth is, the world has never needed us to carry it. It was already in motion billions of years before the first human thought appeared, and it will continue long after all our questions have grown quiet. Carl Sagan once wrote in Cosmos, "We are a way for the universe to know itself." This is not a call to action. It does not ask you to become anything. It is simply a very quiet description that your being here, breathing, listening in the night is already enough. You do not need to understand the universe. You do not need to understand yourself. There are moments when understanding does not bring peace, and it is the permission not to understand that becomes healing. Carl Jung, speaking of the depth of the mind, once wrote, "Who looks outside dreams, who looks inside awakes." But tonight you do not need to awaken. You do not need to look inward with effort. You only need to be here, in the silence between two thoughts, in the rhythm of a breath that is slowing down on its own. If there is one thing worth remembering, it is this: you are not standing outside the universe observing it. You are inside it, supported by the same structure that keeps the stars from falling into chaos. Every cell in your body follows laws older than any philosopher. Every anxiety you have ever carried is small compared to the time the universe has patiently endured. And so you do not need to guard the world with your wakefulness. You can let it keep turning while your awareness softens, slows, and gradually lets go. This journey does not begin with an answer. It begins with a permission. Permission to not know where you are. Permission to not go anywhere at all. Permission for sleep to arrive as something natural without reason. The band of stars keeps turning, and tonight you do not need to keep up with it. From the quiet of the previous chapter, when you allowed yourself not to understand, not to keep up with anything at all, a very gentle awareness begins to appear. Not as a new idea, but as a familiar feeling that has been there for a long time. Only now you are slow enough to notice it. The universe is not above you. It is not suspended like a distant dome. It is not a spectacle meant to be glanced at before returning to the small worries of everyday life. You are inside it. We grow up with the habit of seeing the sky as somewhere else. At night, we look up, notice a faint band of light, and somewhere in the subconscious, we think that is the galaxy. While we stand here separate, small, observing from afar. But the truth is far gentler than that. Every star you have ever seen, whether a dim point of light on the edge of a city or a sky overflowing with stars in deep darkness, belongs to the same home, the same structure, the same slow current, stretching across billions of years. The Milky Way is not an object beyond your reach. It is the environment you live within, like water to a fish or air to a breath. We do not look at the galaxy from the outside because there is no outside to stand in. We are within its body, carried by its motion, even when we feel nothing at all. This confusion, the sense that we are observers standing apart from the world, does not belong only to astronomy. It repeats itself in human inner life. We often believe we are an independent self standing outside the flow of life in order to judge it, standing outside emotion to control it, standing outside the world to understand it. But perhaps that very sense of standing apart is the deepest source of our fatigue. Martin Heidegger once wrote, "Being in the world is not a property of Dasein. It is its way of being." Human beings are not beside the world. They are in the world not as spectators, but as part of the stage, the light, the movement itself. When this is understood, not through logic, but through a very slow feeling, something strange happens. The pressure to understand everything begins to dissolve. Because you cannot stand outside a river to understand what water is when you are already being carried by it. The galaxy is not above your head. It is not watching you from a distance. You do not need to reach for it to prove anything. You have been here from the beginning. Human awareness grows tired because it is always trying to create distance, distance from fear, from emotion, from the vastness of the universe. But tonight, you can try something else. Not observing, just experiencing. Not standing outside to think about the galaxy, but being within it like a child lying on the grass. Not knowing the names of constellations, only knowing that the sky is gently holding everything. Carl Sagan once wrote in Pale Blue Dot, "The Earth is a very small stage in a vast cosmic arena." He did not write this to make humanity feel insignificant, but to remind us that we are not alone in that smallness. We are sharing the same space of existence with everything that has ever been and ever will be. As you lie here, the thought that you are only a small individual does not have to become sadness. It can become relief. Because if you are not the center of the universe, then you are not required to carry it. The galaxy does not ask you to keep up with its rotation. It was turning long before your first thought appeared, and it will keep turning while you sleep deeply. That truth is not cold. It is gentle. It tells you that you can let go. You do not need to stay awake to keep everything running. You do not need to understand the entire picture to earn the right to rest. Philosophy, when told slowly, is not a path toward a final answer. It is a whisper saying that you do not need to stand outside in order to find meaning. Meaning does not live in distance, it lives in presence. And so in this chapter, there is no concept to memorize, no diagram to imagine. There is only a small shift in how you feel yourself from "I am looking at the universe" to "I am inside the universe." That shift, if you allow it, can soften a great deal of tension you did not know you were carrying. You are not an observer standing apart. You are a breath happening inside a structure far larger than you, and yet deeply familiar. And as you sink further into sleep, notice one gentle truth: the galaxy is not above your head. It is everywhere. And you are exactly where you belong. From the feeling of being inside the universe carried over from the previous chapter, a very natural question quietly arises. Not urgent, not demanding an answer right away. If we are within the galaxy, then where are we within this vast structure? Not to locate ourselves on a map, but to feel a gentle reassurance that we have a place, an address, a calm point of support amid immense motion. Our sun is not at the center, nor is it cast away at some distant edge. It drifts within a relatively quiet spiral arm, a region that is neither overcrowded nor violent, not a place where the strongest gravitational forces compete. It is a calm neighborhood of the Milky Way, stable enough for planets to form, gentle enough for life to slowly appear, and enduring enough that consciousness could one day begin to ask about its own position. Human beings often carry a deep obsession to be at the center, to matter, to be the focal point of meaning. When we realize we are not at the center of the universe, many feel a quiet loss, as if the humility of our location implied a diminishment of our value. But tonight, try to feel this differently. A modest position can be a gift. At the center, everything happens too fast. Violent energy stars born and dying in chaos radiations so intense that no fragile structure can survive long enough. At the far edges, matter grows sparse. Light becomes rare and time passes in isolation. Here, where we are lying, breathing, listening, is a rare middle ground. Not loud, not barren, just enough. This just enough is not an accident. It is the result of billions of years of balance, as though the universe patiently tried again and again until it found a rhythm that life could keep pace with. Blaise Pascal once wrote in Pensée, "The eternal silence of these infinite spaces frightens me." This line is often read as fear, but perhaps within that infinite silence there is also a deep comfort that the universe does not demand we become grand. It simply opens space where fragile things are allowed to exist. Our sun, with all its light and warmth, is only an average star. Not special, not remarkable, not the main character of any cosmic drama. And precisely because of that, it can remain for a very long time. Philosophy at times resembles astronomy. It does not place humanity at the center. It places us in the right position, no more, no less. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Accept the things to which fate binds you and love the people with whom fate brings you together." To accept one's position is not surrender. It is a gentle reconciliation between personal desire and the larger structure that holds us. In modern life, we often feel out of place, lost in work, lost in relationships, lost within our own choices. But when you look into the night sky and remember that our sun drifts through a quiet neighborhood of the galaxy, a different feeling begins to emerge that not being at the center does not mean being abandoned. That quiet is not failure, that some structures are so vast we do not need to prove anything to belong within them. Carl Jung once wrote in Modern Man, In Search of a Soul, "The least of things with a meaning is worth more in life than the greatest of things without it." Meaning does not come from where we stand on a cosmic map. It comes from the feeling of belonging to the place where we stand. As you lie here, your body slowly loosening your awareness, drifting into a gentler rhythm. Notice one small but very real truth. You do not need to move anywhere to be in the right place. The right place is not where all attention converges. The right place is where you can breathe without effort. The sun is doing exactly what it needs to do without display, without questioning its importance. It shines steadily, keeps the orbit stable, and allows time to pass in its natural rhythm. Perhaps that is a soft suggestion for inner life as well. You do not need to be the center of any story. You only need to be a stable part of the structure that supports you. And when that thought settles, when the feeling of being in the right place replaces the anxiety of searching, sleep can arrive not as an escape, but as a return. In this chapter, there is nothing new to memorize. There is only a gentle adjustment in how you feel your position, not at the center, not at the edge, just here in a quiet neighborhood of the galaxy, within a structure large enough to hold all your tiredness and gentle enough to let you rest. From the feeling of being in the right place, carried over from the previous chapter when you stopped searching for a central position and allowed yourself to settle into a quiet neighborhood of the galaxy, another dimension slowly opens. Not space, but time. Not the familiar kind measured by clocks, calendars, or tomorrow's obligations, but a deeper, wider rhythm where human urgency becomes very small. Our sun is orbiting the center of the Milky Way. One full revolution takes about 230 million years. That is the time required for the sun to complete a single orbit, what astronomers simply call a galactic year. Let that number pass through your mind without holding on to it, without comparing it. 230 million years is not meant to be understood, but to be felt. When the sun began its current orbit, there were no humans, no language, no memory to preserve. Dinosaurs had not yet appeared. And yet, through layers of stone, through eras, through extinctions and renewals, that orbit has continued steady, patient, unbroken. Human life is often lived with the sense that everything must happen quickly, quickly to be on time, quickly to avoid being left behind, quickly to feel some control over the current. But the time of the galaxy knows nothing of this haste. It does not rush. It does not count down. It does not care whether anyone is watching. Philosophy at its deepest level has always tried to remind us that time is not an enemy. We are simply living within a different rhythm. Henri Bergson once wrote in Time and Free Will, "Time is not a thing, it is a flow. Seen from a human perspective, that flow can provoke anxiety. Seen from a cosmic perspective, it carries a strange gentleness. Within a single galactic year, continents drift, climates change, life experiments with countless forms and quietly abandons most of them. And somewhere within that long current, consciousness appears not as a destination, but as a fragile moment. Perhaps that is why humans fear time. Fear of aging, fear of being late, fear of missing out, fear of not becoming something before everything ends. But when those fears are placed beside the time of the galaxy, something begins to soften. Not because your problems disappear, but because they no longer have to carry such immense weight. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Do not act as if you were going to live 10,000 years." Often read as a reminder of mortality, it can also be felt here as a quiet release that you do not need to race the time of the universe, that a human life does not need to match eternal scales to hold meaning. The time of the galaxy does not diminish the value of human moments. It simply places them within a wider context where urgency is no longer required. As you lie here, your body loosening, your breath growing deeper and more even, imagine not as a sharp image, but as a vague sensation that the sun continues its orbit. Not faster, not slower, unconcerned with whether you are awake or asleep. There is deep comfort in this. The world does not require your constant awareness in order to exist. Even when you let consciousness rest, everything continues. Epicurus once wrote, "Death is nothing to us, since when we exist, death is not present, and when death is present, we do not exist." In the same way, sleep is not disappearance. It is simply a span of time in which awareness does not need to intervene. On the scale of the galaxy, a single night of your sleep is a blink. On the scale of a human life, it is a refuge. Both can be true without contradiction. When you hear that long before dinosaurs appeared, we were already here, it does not mean we as individuals. It means the atoms that form you have been part of this flow for a very long time. They have passed through generations of stars, through explosions, through cosmic rearrangements. And for a brief, very brief moment, they are here as you. Carl Sagan once wrote in Cosmos, "The cosmos is within us. We are made of star stuff." This is not meant to make you feel grand. It is meant to remind you that you do not need to hurry. The time you are living within is not a straight line rushing toward an ending. It is a wide current, spacious enough for you to pause without disturbing the whole structure. And so as this chapter closes, there is no conclusion to remember, only a new, very gentle feeling about time, that not everything needs to happen quickly, that some movements take hundreds of millions of years and remain perfectly steady. While the sun continues its long orbit, you may allow yourself to enter a different rhythm, the rhythm of breathing, the rhythm of letting go, the rhythm of sleep arriving without being pushed. The time of the galaxy continues to flow, and tonight you do not need to keep up with it. From the vast time scale of the previous chapter, when you allowed yourself not to keep pace with an overwhelming current, your sense of the universe begins to shift very gently. No longer a matter of large numbers, no longer rotations spanning hundreds of millions of years, but a shape, a structure, a feeling so delicate that if you grow quiet enough, you can almost touch it. The galaxy we live in, the Milky Way, is immense, so wide that light needs hundreds of thousands of years to cross it from one side to the other. And yet, strangely, it is very thin. Thinner than most human imagination would ever expect. Not a solid sphere, not a dome arcing overhead, but a flat disk spread through space like a still surface of water before any ripple appears. Astronomers often compare this structure to a spinning disk, not spinning fast, not making any sound, just turning evenly, quietly enough for everything within it to keep its order. When you look up at the night sky and see the Milky Way as a faint, stretched band of light, it is not because it lies horizontally before your eyes. It is because you are looking along the plane of that very disk itself. You are inside a thin structure, gazing through countless layers of stars, dust and gas stacked together in a silent arrangement. This may sound technical, but if you allow yourself to feel it slowly, it carries a very different quality. It suggests that the universe is not always dense or overwhelming, that there are structures vast beyond measure, yet thin enough for light to pass through. Dust, gas, and light do not compete for space. They blend, they coexist, they leave room for one another. Perhaps this is why the galactic disk feels so much like sleep. Sleep is not a heavy state. It does not crush awareness. It simply makes everything thinner between thoughts, thinner between memories, thinner between you and the world. When you begin to drift towards sleep, you do not disappear. You become less dense in the way you cling to things. Philosophy at times seeks the same delicacy, not to weaken the human being, but to make them lighter. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote in "Thus Spoke Zarathustra," "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." But perhaps for that star to truly dance, there must also be a space thin enough, wide enough, where motion does not turn into collision. The galactic disk is thin not because it is weak, but because this is the most stable shape for movement that lasts billions of years without collapse. In the same way, the human mind does not need to be dense to be strong. Sometimes it is precisely in letting go that balance is found. In everyday life, we grow used to filling our awareness with information, responsibilities, expectations. Everything piles up until the mind has no empty space left to breathe. But when you look at the structure of the galaxy, a very gentle suggestion emerges. Stability does not come from endless accumulation, but from remaining thin enough that movement is not obstructed. Dust in the galaxy does not dim starlight out of hostility. It simply floats there like a sheer veil, softening the stars, deepening their colors, easing the glare of the sky. The human mind is much the same. Not every blur is a mistake. Not every shadow needs to be erased. Carl Jung once wrote in Psychology and Alchemy, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." But for such reactions to occur, substances must exist within the right environment, not too compressed, not too diffuse. Just enough. The galactic disk is precisely such an environment, open enough for stars to form, yet bound enough that they do not drift away without meaning. As you lie here, and the image of the slowly turning disk begins to fade from your mind, notice something very subtle. Lightness is not emptiness. It is a structure that allows light to pass through, allows motion to unfold, allows rest to exist without fear of falling apart. Dust, gas, and light within the galaxy never ask which of them matters more. They simply share a place in a picture that needs no observer. And perhaps you do not need to classify every thought as right or wrong, important or unimportant. You can let them remain like stardust suspended in space, not blocking sleep, only softening the inner light. Baruch Spinoza once wrote in Ethics, "Peace is not an absence of war, but a virtue, a state of mind." Peace is not a completely empty mind. It is a mind thin enough that it no longer collides with itself. As this chapter closes, there is no conclusion to hold on to. Only a gentle image of a thin disk turning in silence. And within that disk, in a very modest place, you are lying here breathing evenly, awareness slowly drifting toward the edge of sleep. The galaxy holds its shape without needing you awake, without needing you to watch. You may allow yourself to become a little thinner still, like the galactic disk, like the sleep that is now drawing very near. From the sleep-thin structure of the previous chapter, when everything had grown light enough for light itself to pass through, the story continues to drift unhurried without sharp turns toward the most familiar shapes of the galaxy, the soft curves we often call spiral arms. The name sounds concrete, as if the galaxy truly had arms reaching out, grasping, holding stars in place. But in truth, they are not arms at all. There is nothing to grasp, nothing to hold. What you are imagining is not a rigid structure, but density waves, regions of space where matter briefly gathers, then thins again, like a single very long breath. One way to feel this is to think of traffic on a highway. Cars slow down not because of an invisible wall, but because density increases along a stretch of road. Each car passes through. None are held forever. Yet for a moment, movement slows, and we perceive a jam. The spiral arms of the Milky Way are like this. Stars are not trapped. They pass through. And as they do, they perform something entirely natural. They shine, they give rise to new generations of stars, and then they continue on their way. If you listen closely, this carries a very gentle message that in the universe, not every shape is an object. Not everything we see is meant to be held. Some structures exist only to allow movement to unfold beautifully. Philosophy has its own spiral arms. Grand ideas we often mistake for destinations, when in truth they are regions of meaning we move through. Heraclitus once said, "No man ever steps in the same river twice." The river does not keep you. It is not a place to stop. It is a place to pass through and to be changed as you pass. Spiral arms are not permanent dwellings. They are moments, phrases within the long music of the galaxy. When a star passes through such a dense region, gas and dust compress, pressure rises, and from this, young stars are born, blue, hot, radiant, and short-lived. The blue light of young stars marks something quietly beautiful. That new life often arises where movement slows, not where everything is frozen, nor where chaos is extreme. but where things become just dense enough to touch. Human inner life has regions like this as well, periods when emotion gathers, when thoughts feel heavier, when everything seems slow and thick. We often fear these times. We call them being stuck, blocked, unable to move forward. But seen through the rhythm of the galaxy, such moments may simply be spiral arms you are passing through. You are not trapped. You are not lost. You are in a region where something new is forming slowly. Friedrich Nietzsche wrote in Human All Too Human, the snake which cannot cast its skin has to die. But shedding skin does not happen in a single dramatic instant. It happens in slow passages in dense regions where movement becomes more aware. Young stars shine blue and then quickly leave the stage. They do not cling. They do not need to prove themselves. Their role is simply to appear, illuminate a moment, and yield to a longer rhythm. This is not sad. It is orderly. Carl Jung once wrote in The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, "In all chaos, there is a cosmos; in all disorder, a secret order. Spiral arms may look chaotic, but within them lies a delicate order. Density arrives and fades, motion slows and accelerates. Light is born and dissolves. You do not need to cling to any phase for it to matter. Meaning lives in how you move through it." In this nighttime telling, as the voice slows and your awareness begins to hover between waking and sleep, you too are passing through a spiral arm of your own, not a place of full awakening, not yet a place of disappearance, but a gentle transition. If thoughts arise, let them come and go like stars passing through dense regions, not held, not pushed away. Lao Tzu wrote in the Tao Te Ching, "Life is a series of natural and spontaneous changes. Don't resist them, that only creates sorrow." Spiral arms do not resist motion. They are born from it and they dissolve back into it. When you look up at the night sky and see curved bands of light, remember, they are not hands gripping the stars. They are slow rhythms allowing something new to emerge without force. You do not need to stay there. You do not need to fear passing through. The galaxy does not hold stars. It lets them go. And perhaps this is the quiet whisper this chapter offers you. Not everything that feels stuck is a mistake. Some slow regions exist only so you can be changed. As the blue light fades from your mind, as the spiral shapes soften and drift away, allow yourself to keep moving. You are not being held. You are passing through. And sleep, like a very gentle spiral arm, is just ahead, not to grasp you, but to let you pass through it peacefully. From the spiral arms, we have just passed through regions of density that come and go, temporary slowings of motion. The story settles more deeply, as if the galaxy itself were lowering its voice. For behind those luminous curves lie places darker, colder, and so quiet that even light must move with care. These are molecular clouds, regions of space where gas and dust gather, not loudly, not for display, but quietly existing within shadow. There everything unfolds very slowly, so slowly that no human sense could perceive it without stopping long enough. Molecular clouds are the cradles of stars, not in a poetic sense, but in the simplest physical one. Within them, pressure, gravity, and time begin a long conversation. No commands are given. There is no dramatic moment of birth. Over millions of years, matter becomes slightly denser, then denser still, until gravity finally whispers now. The collapse that leads to a star is unlike collapse in human life. It is not rushed. It does not shatter. It is a very slow drawing inward, a gentle folding, as if space itself were embracing itself. Stars are born in silence. There is no explosion, no flash, only a gradual rise in temperature, a gradual increase in density until nuclear reactions begin like a flame lit where no one is watching. We often believe that life requires noise, visible motion, clear signs that something is happening. But the universe teaches a different lesson. The most important beginnings rarely call attention to themselves. Within those dark clouds, you might imagine stars waiting, not with impatience, but with a patient ripeness. The Milky Way is woven from countless moments like these, not through loud events, but through billions of times matter chooses to gather rather than disperse. Philosophy, when it touches the deepest layers of existence, speaks of similar movements, not flashes of reason, but changes that take place in quiet. Martin Heidegger once wrote in Being and Time, "The most thought-provoking thing in our thought-provoking time is that we are still not thinking. Not because humanity lacks ideas, but because many essential things appear only when we are still enough to listen. Stars are not only born, they also die. And that death, unlike human fear, is not an end. When a star completes its life, especially a massive one, it returns to space, the elements it has forged, carbon, oxygen, iron, the basic bricks of life. The death of stars nourishes what comes next, not as tragic sacrifice, but as a natural part of the cycle." Carl Sagan once wrote in Cosmos, "We are made of star stuff." Often quoted as poetic science, it is here simply a precise description. Every atom in your body has passed through stellar cycles of birth and death. This is not meant to make you feel grand, only to remind you that your existence is not separate. It is a continuation within a very long story. In inner life, we often fear dark phases, times of uncertainty, times when everything slows or turns inward. But seen through the rhythm of molecular clouds, such phases may not be failures at all. They may be places where something new is forming without yet needing light. Carl Jung once wrote in Psychology and Religion, "No tree, it is said, can grow to heaven unless its roots reach down to hell." Molecular clouds are the roots of stars. They do not shine. They are not admired. Yet without them, no light would ever appear. Human sleep carries a similar function. When you sleep, awareness withdraws. Familiar structures loosen. And somewhere in the darkness of the mind, new connections quietly form. You do not need to witness this, just as we do not witness a star being born. It is enough to trust that some processes work best when they are not illuminated. Epicurus once wrote, "Nothing is enough for the man to whom enough is too little." But within the universe's cycle of birth and death, enough is not lack, it is balance, the point where matter, energy, and time find proportions that allow continuation. Molecular clouds do not rush to become stars. Stars do not rush to become remnants. And remnants do not rush to disappear. Each phase is lived fully. As you lie here, your body growing quiet, your awareness fading like distant light, notice that you do not need to do anything to deserve this rest. You are participating in an ancient rhythm, a rhythm in which silence is not emptiness, but the condition for something new to arise. There is no lesson here to memorize, only a deep resonance between the universe and the human mind, that birth needs no noise, that death needs no tragedy, that every ending is already nourishing another beginning. And while molecular clouds continue their very slow collapse somewhere in the galaxy, you may allow yourself to let go of questions that do not need answers yet, of worries that do not need solving. Like matter yielding to gravity without resistance, without hurry. Stars are born in silence, and your sleep is the same. From the places where stars are born in silence, from the dark clouds, where every beginning unfolds slowly, the journey moves inward, not as an invasion, but as a natural shift of attention. Like the mind after a long settling, beginning to turn toward what is denser, deeper, and harder to name. The center of the Milky Way is the brightest region and also the most obscured, a beautiful paradox. There are more stars there, more energy, more motion, and yet precisely because of this, light cannot travel to us directly. Dust blocks it. Gas absorbs familiar wavelengths. And if we look only with the naked eye, the galactic center appears as a dim darkness, an indistinct region, as though something were being carefully concealed. Science has learned a humble lesson from this. Not every truth reveals itself in the same way. When light is blocked, we learn to listen to other waves, infrared radio, faint signals that emerge only when we accept that we can no longer see as we once did. Perhaps this is also a precise metaphor for the human inner journey. The deepest parts of us rarely appear clearly. They are veiled by habit, by social roles, by the stories we tell about ourselves. When we try to look directly, they often retreat. But when we change the way we listen, slower, with less judgment, other signals begin to surface. Moving toward the galactic center is like entering the densest regions of awareness. Everything draws closer, orbits tighten, motion quickens. There, stars are born, more often die more frequently, and energy is released with far greater force. This is not a quiet place, not a place to remain for long, but it is where the galaxy shows how it lives. Human beings have such centers, as well dense emotional regions, compressed memories, large questions we often avoid because they feel too intense. Carl Jung once wrote in The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. The center is not always a place of gentle illumination. More often, it is where light becomes harsh, where darkness thickens, where everything unfolds with great intensity. And for that reason, we tend to keep our distance. But the galaxy does not avoid its center. It organizes all its motion around it. Every orbit is related. Every rhythm is affected. This does not mean we must rush headlong into our deepest layers. Just as astronomers do not look directly at the galactic center with the naked eye, but use instruments, distance, patience. Night philosophy is the same. It does not push, it simply points. As you listen now, you may not need to go any deeper. It is enough to know that there are regions within you that operate at higher intensity and that their existence is not a mistake. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." But peace here does not mean the absence of motion. It can be a harmony among many forces, a subtle order within what is dense and powerful. the galactic center is not a place of rest. It is a reminder that life does not exist only in calm. It also needs intense regions in order to reshape itself. And then from that center, we can move outward again like a breath flowing in and out, not staying too long, not denying what is there. As you drift further into rest, notice that you do not need to resolve every deep thing in a single night. Just as we do not see the galactic center in one observation, it is enough to remember that what is hidden does not mean non-existent, and what is intense does not necessarily destroy. Baruch Spinoza wrote in Ethics, "The more we understand individual things, the more we understand God." Yet understanding here does not require relentless analysis. It can be a simple acceptance that there are depths which do not need constant illumination. The journey toward the center does not end with a spectacular discovery. It ends with a gentle respect for the density of existence. And while the galaxy continues its intense motions deep within you, may choose to remain where you are lying at the edge of awareness, far enough to be safe, close enough to feel. No dazzling light required, no complete understanding needed, just the quiet, knowing that every great structure has a center, and every center is protected by thick layers of time and distance. Your sleep does not ask you to enter the densest place. It only invites you to yield to the shared rhythm. The journey continues, but for now, you may rest. From the dense central region of the previous chapter, where light is veiled and the rhythm of life grows intense, the story moves one step further, not faster, not deeper in any dramatic sense, but more precise. Because at the very center of that center lies one of the most misunderstood entities of all, an image onto which the human imagination has projected far too much fear: the black hole. When we hear the words black hole, we often picture a cosmic monster devouring everything in its path, tearing space apart, threatening the fragile order of the world. But reality is far quieter than that. At the heart of the Milky Way resides a supermassive black hole known as Sagittarius A. It does not roar. It does not hunt. It does not rush outward in search of prey. It is simply there, silent, like a gatekeeper who has stood watch for so long that no announcement is needed. Sagittarius. A does not pull the entire galaxy into itself. It does not reach out to snatch distant stars. Its influence is powerful only within a very small region. Beyond that range, stars continue along their paths, almost entirely unaware of its presence. This often surprises people because we are accustomed to magnifying threats. What is mysterious is easily imagined as dangerous. What cannot be seen is often granted absolute power. Yet once again, the universe reminds us that strength is not always loud. Albert Einstein wrote in Relativity, "The special and the general theory, space and time, are modes by which we think and not conditions in which we live." A black hole does not destroy space through violence. It simply curves space-time in a very precise way, like a deep gravity well that does not spread indiscriminately. If anything makes Sagittarius A remarkable, it is its history. Scientists have found traces of a turbulent past, streams of matter once falling inward, bursts of radiation, long since faded, enormous bubbles of energy extending far above and below the galactic plane. Yet now it is relatively calm. This carries a profound meaning when viewed through a philosophical lens that there are entities which have endured chaos, released immense energy, and then settled into stillness, becoming stabilizing anchors for an entire structure. Human beings have their own black holes as well, deep regions of memory, heavy experiences, emotions once so intense we fear looking back at them. We worry that if we move too close, they will consume us. But most of the time, their influence is strong only at very close range. From a healthy distance, they are simply parts of the inner architecture, not constant threats. Carl Jung wrote in Ion, "One does not become enlightened by imagining figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious." A black hole is not evil. It is the result of too much mass compressed into too small a space. It is the memory of compression, the trace of what once occurred. And precisely because of this, it can also serve as a point of order. Sagittarius. A helps give the galactic center a stable rhythm, not through force, but through presence. This is far from the image of a cosmic predator. It is closer to that of a quiet sentinel, standing not for power, but for responsibility. Baruch Spinoza wrote in Ethics, "The more you struggle to live, the less you live." Give up the notion that you must be sure of what you are doing. Perhaps what makes black holes frightening is not their nature, but our way of seeing them through anxiety, through the need to control, through the urge to label. When we slow our gaze, another truth appears. A black hole does nothing unless something comes too close. It does not seek destruction. It simply follows laws it did not choose. This can offer a gentle reassurance. Not every latent power is a danger. There are depths that only need respectful distance for the whole system to function. Tonight, as you listen and your awareness softens, you do not need to face every black hole within yourself. You do not need to dig, illuminate, or resolve. Like astronomers, you may choose to observe from afar using gentler wavelengths, your breath, your heartbeat, the simple sensation of lying still. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Be like the cliff against which the waves continually break, but it stands firm and tames the fury of the water around it." Sagittarius. A does not resist motion. It does not fight what falls inward. It simply is. And it is precisely this non-resistant presence that keeps the galaxy from unraveling. If there is a quiet lesson in this chapter, it is this: the deepest strength does not need display. What is silent is not necessarily empty. What is misunderstood is not necessarily dangerous. As you lie here with sleep drawing closer, allow the image of the black hole to soften. No longer a monster, but a witness, a memory of the galaxy, a low note that keeps the music from shattering. Our journey has not ended, but right now, you do not need to go further. Sagittarius. A remains where it is. The galaxy continues to turn, and you may allow yourself to rest without fear of being pulled away. Because not every center seeks to devour. Some centers simply hold everything in its place. After passing through the silent center where a black hole stands watch without movement, the journey does not close. It opens in another direction. Not deeper inward, but outward, spreading around. Far from the luminous plane of the galactic disk, far from the spiral arms where stars are still being born, there exists a region vast, sparse, and very old, the halo. If the galactic disk is the breath of the present, the place where everything is still in motion, then the halo is like memory. Not loud, not demanding, yet always there. The halo surrounds the entire Milky Way like an ancient mist. It is not flat. It does not rotate with a clear, orderly pattern. Stars in the halo move along long, tilted orbits, sometimes cutting through the disk, then drifting far away for hundreds of thousands of light years. These are very old stars. Many of them formed when the galaxy itself was young, before the thin disk existed, before the spiral arms took shape, even before our sun was born. In some regions of the halo, these ancient stars gather into tightly bound spherical communities, globular clusters. Each cluster is an ancient city, hundreds of thousands, sometimes millions of stars packed into a space only a few dozen light years across. Within them, distances between stars are no longer measured in years of light as they are near us, but in weeks or months of light. These stars have witnessed nearly the entire history of the galaxy. They carry within them a chemistry poor in heavy elements, a signature of a universe that had not yet enriched itself. The philosopher Walter Benjamin once wrote in Theses on the Philosophy of History, "The past carries with it a temporal index by which it is referred to redemption." The halo is precisely such a temporal index for the galaxy. It does not speak through brilliance, but through age. Yet the halo is not only static memory, it also preserves unfinished stories. Within this sparse region, astronomers have discovered long, thin streams of stars winding around the galaxy, like traces of something that once existed independently. These are remnants of smaller galaxies. Large galaxies were not born complete. They grew not by gentle expansion, but by absorption. Dwarf galaxies passed too close, were stretched by gravitational tides, torn apart, and eventually dissolved into a larger structure. But they did not vanish entirely. Their stars continued to exist, no longer sharing a single center, drawn out into stellar streams that wrap around the parent galaxy like memories that have not yet faded. Galaxies grow by carrying the histories of others. This may sound violent, but on cosmic timescales it unfolds so slowly that no one would notice it within a lifetime. There is no crash, no dramatic moment, only orbits gradually changing and new structures forming through blending. Friedrich Nietzsche once wrote in Thus Spoke Zarathustra, "One must still have chaos in oneself to be able to give birth to a dancing star." The halo is where old chaos is kept, not to disrupt the present, but to underlie it. If the disk is the music being played, the halo is the echo of melodies long past. What is striking is how quiet the halo is. Stellar density is low, collisions are rare, explosive events are few. The rhythm there is so slow that time almost seems to stand still. If you stood on a planet within the halo, the night sky would be far darker than ours. There would be no bright band of the Milky Way, only a few scattered stars and a faint distant disk like a blurred memory. It is a vision utterly different from the crowded disk and remarkably similar to an inner state in which everything has finally settled. Human beings have halos too, not in the body but in the mind. Very old memories, stories that no longer directly affect us. Relationships, former versions of ourselves that have been absorbed into who we are now. They do not disappear. They move to the outskirts. They still exert gravity, but no longer dictate every motion. Carl Jung wrote in Memories, Dreams, Reflections, "In each of us there is another whom we do not know. The halo is where that other is kept safely. It does not need to be excavated. It does not need decoding. It only needs to be acknowledged as part of the structure. The galaxy does not deny its past. It carries everything what formed within it and what it absorbed along the way. And this is precisely what makes it more stable. In this sleepward journey, we have moved from the bright plane to the silent center, and now drift outward into the ancient surrounding region. Each step has not been about learning more, but about becoming lighter. You do not need to remember numbers, names, or structures, only to feel that there is a vast region where everything old is allowed to exist without making noise. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul." The halo of the galaxy is a kind of peaceful soul, not intensely active yet, holding the whole together. And if right now, as your body grows heavier and your thoughts slow, you let your mind drift toward that halo, not a center, not a place of pressure, but a wide, sparse, enduring ring. You may feel how galaxies grow not by forgetting, but by embracing what has passed. Perhaps that is also how we can grow without strain, not by erasing, not by fixing everything at once, but by allowing every memory to find its proper distance within a larger structure. The halo remains. The galaxy continues to turn, and you may continue your journey without carrying anything heavy. For some parts of history do not need resolution, only the right distance. From the ancient surrounding region, where the galaxy's memory is kept in silence, the story moves into an even deeper layer. Not deep in the sense of being closer to the center, but deep in the sense of being less visible. For there are things that do not shine, do not leave direct traces, and yet keep the entire structure from falling apart. Dark matter. It does not reflect light. It emits no familiar signals. It does not appear in photographs. And if we trusted only what the eyes can see, we would think it does not exist. Yet our galaxy, the Milky Way, could not remain intact without it. Stars orbit too fast for the visible mass alone. The galactic disk would fly apart if only ordinary matter were present. Clusters orbit stable motions, all require something holding them from behind the curtain. Dark matter is not simply missing stuff in a simple sense. It is an invisible framework upon which every visible form relies. Like a house where you see walls and windows, but not the beams, not the pillars, not the foundation. You can live there, sleep there, without ever touching what carries the entire weight. We are accustomed to believing what can be seen, and so what is invisible is easily doubted. But the universe does not operate according to the habits of human senses. It moves by forces we can only infer from their effects. Dark matter does not speak. It only acts. Albert Einstein once wrote in Relativity, the Special and the General Theory, "Not everything that can be counted counts, and not everything that counts can be counted." Dark matter is a clear testament to that truth. We do not see it, but we see galaxies endure. We see stable orbits. We see large structures that do not collapse. And from this, we know that something is present. Human inner life has its own forms of dark matter, unspoken values, bonds that need no name, memories no longer clearly recalled yet still shaping responses. They do not appear in the stories we tell about ourselves. They are not listed among achievements. They are not shared openly. And yet without them, the whole structure of a person could fall apart. Carl Jung wrote in The Archetypes and the Collective Unconscious, "The psyche is a self-regulating system that maintains its equilibrium just as the body does." That self-regulation does not come from consciousness alone. It arises from deep layers we do not see but always carry. Dark matter makes up most of the universe's mass. When felt slowly, this is not frightening. It simply invites humility that most of what keeps things existing does not need to display itself. Modern life often exhausts us because we must perform, prove, make everything explicit and measurable. Yet the universe says the opposite. Some foundations work best when they are not constantly illuminated. Dark matter does not need to be fully understood to fulfill its role. It does not wait for validation. It does not ask for attention. It simply remains, keeping orbits from breaking. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one." Perhaps what makes a system strong is not its ability to explain itself, but its ability to be present in the right place. Dark matter remains an unresolved mystery, and that does not weaken it. On the contrary, it reminds us that not every question needs an immediate answer. Philosophy in the slow rhythm of night does not seek to seal every gap. It allows open spaces to exist. As you lie here, awareness softening and sleep drawing near, sense the invisible frameworks that support you, breath regulating itself, the body knowing when to release, the heart beating without instruction, sleep arriving without your understanding its mechanism. Epicurus wrote, "Do not spoil what you have by desiring what you have not." Peace does not come from knowing everything. It comes from trusting that some processes are working well even when we are not watching. Dark matter does not promise. It does not explain. It does not reassure with words. Yet because of it, galaxies do not fall apart. Because of it, vast structures endure for billions of years. And perhaps within you, there are things like this as well. Parts that do not need names, do not need analysis, only permission to remain. Along this journey, we have passed through light and shadow, through the center, and into ancient regions. Now we touch something without form. And it is precisely this formless presence that keeps everything whole. As this chapter settles, there is no conclusion, only a gentle sense that you do not need to see everything that holds you. You only need to allow it to keep doing its work. The galaxy continues to turn. The invisible framework remains. And you may let yourself fall into sleep without fear of falling, because the most important things do not require light in order to exist. From the invisible framework of the previous chapter, where unseen forces keep everything from falling apart, the journey widens once more. Not in search of a new center, but toward the realization that our galaxy has never been alone. The Milky Way does not drift by itself through emptiness. It belongs to a larger structure, a quiet community of galaxies that share gravity, exchange histories, and evolve together slowly. This structure is known as the local group. It is a family of a few dozen galaxies, not crowded, not loud, but bound by relationships that light itself does not clearly reveal. Within this family, there are large members and many smaller ones. Satellite galaxies circle the main galaxies, like nearby memories still influential, still held within orbit. These dwarf galaxies are not striking. They lack bright spiral arms, lack luminous central cores. Yet they exist. And their existence speaks to something essential. Scale does not determine value. Galaxies, like people, are shaped not only by their largest members, but by the entire web of relationships that supports and influences them. And within this family, there is a neighbor slowly drawing closer, the Andromeda Galaxy. Andromeda is not rushing, it is not attacking. The two galaxies are approaching one another at a very modest speed by cosmic standards. Their meeting will occur in a few billion years, not within a human life, not within human history, but within the long memory of the stars. When we hear the word collision, we imagine tragedy, destruction, rupture, collapse. But in the universe, encounters between galaxies are rarely catastrophic. The distances between stars are so vast that most will never touch. What happens is not impact, but blending. Orbits change, structures rearrange themselves, new generations of stars are triggered. And from two separate histories, a new structure slowly takes shape. This is not an ending, it is evolution. The philosopher Alfred North Whitehead wrote in Process and Reality, "The many become one and are increased by one." The universe does not erase difference. It integrates. It allows what was once separate to become the foundation for a new form. A galactic family is not a place of competition. It is a realm of slow interaction where everything has time to change without breaking. Human life too unfolds within such local groups, families, communities, near relationships and distant ones. Not every approach leads to conflict. Not every closeness is a threat. Sometimes it is simply two orbits adjusting, creating a more stable structure. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "What brings no benefit to the hive brings no benefit to the bee." Within the local group, no galaxy exists in complete isolation. Gravity is the shared bond, and it is this bond that keeps the system from unraveling. Andromeda is drawing nearer, but there is no urgency, nothing to fear. That event lies far beyond immediate worries. It reminds us that the greatest changes often unfold on timescales too long to provoke panic. As you listen, you may think of the collisions in your own life, changes in relationships, periods when two worlds overlap. Seen through the rhythm of galaxies, these need not be tragedies. They may be restructurings, opening space for something new. Carl Jung wrote in Modern Man, in Search of a Soul Life, really does begin at 40. Up until then, you are just doing research. Not because what came before was wrong, but because every phase prepares the ground for a different shape of the self. The galactic family teaches us that there is no absolute solitude. Even within immense emptiness, structures find one another, not to erase, but to continue. Along this nighttime journey, we have moved from the inside outward, from light to the invisible, and now to wider connections. Each step has not been about accumulating knowledge, but about softening the sense that you stand alone before the universe. You are not outside. You belong to a structure, not only a planet, not only a galaxy, but a family of galaxies moving together. Within that family, no one is rushed. No one is left behind. Every orbit is accounted for in the larger picture. As sleep draws nearer, let the image of Andromeda become not a source of fear, but a gentle reminder that even the greatest encounters can unfold without tragedy. Our galaxy continues to turn. The local group continues to hold its members in a slow order, and you, in a very small place within that structure, may allow yourself to rest. For not every approach requires defense. Some movements are simply part of growing together. From the galactic family where orbits learn how to draw closer without collision, the current of the story opens into another dimension. Not outward, not inward, but forward. Very far forward. So far that the familiar measures of human life no longer have a place to stand. Billions of years from now, our galaxy, the Milky Way, will no longer hold the shape it has today. The encounter with the Andromeda Galaxy will be complete. Two structures that once drifted independently will blend into a single new form. There will be no moment of ending, no instant of collapse. Only orbits gradually shifting, clouds of stars rearranging themselves, and a new shape quietly emerging on a timescale too long to be called an event. A merged galaxy is not a tragedy, it is a continuation. And while those slow transformations unfold, the star that has nourished life on this planet will also change. The sun will grow old, not suddenly, not violently. It will slowly brighten, then expand, then release its outer layers like a very long breath coming to rest. No one will witness it. No memory will remain. What happens will not require an observer to be true. Heard too quickly, this can carry a vague sadness. But if you allow yourself to listen more slowly, it brings a strange sense of relief that the universe does not operate for anyone. That change does not need an audience, and therefore it does not bear the burden of having to mean something in the way humans often demand. The philosopher Baruch Spinoza wrote in Ethics, nature does not act with an end in view. Nature does not aim toward a final goal, it simply continues. Human beings often worry about the future as if it were waiting for us to arrive and complete it, as if everything needed a witness to be confirmed. But when we look at cosmic timescales, we see something else. Most of the most important changes happen in complete silence, without memory, without a storyteller, without anyone to remember them. And that does not make them any less whole. Galactic mergers will give rise to new generations of stars. Those generations will in turn grow old. The new structure will also change through cycles longer than imagination can hold. The very distant future does not wear a human face, but it does not oppose humanity either. It simply does not need us. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Soon you will have forgotten everything. Soon everything will have forgotten you." This is not meant to diminish us. It is meant to liberate us. Because if everything eventually passes without needing to be preserved, then you do not need to carry the anxiety of leaving a mark. Against a future measured in billions of years, a human life is not too short. It is simply enough. Enough to feel, enough to love, enough to rest. And it does not need to be more than that. Epicurus wrote, "The wealth required by nature is limited and is easy to procure." Nature does not ask you for eternity. It only asks that you be fully present within the very small span of time you are given. As you lie here listening to things that will happen when no one is left to listen, notice a very gentle feeling beginning to arise that you do not need to guard the future. You do not need to manage what lies beyond the reach of your life. Change will happen whether you are awake or asleep, whether anyone remembers it or not. And because of this, you are allowed to let go. Not because nothing matters, but because meaning does not need to be stretched forever. In the very distant future, no one will remember tonight. No one will know where you lay, what you thought, what you managed to release. And that does not diminish this night. It only makes it lighter. Galaxies will merge. Our star will age. The structure of the universe will continue to change without an audience. And right now, you may choose something very simple to rest without preparing for the future. For there are changes that need no witness, and there are sleeps that arrive without needing a reason. From the very distant future where change unfolds without an audience, the flow of the story returns very close. Not back into historical time, but back to you, to the quiet question that has accompanied this entire journey, even if it has never been spoken aloud. Where do we come from? Not in the sense of family lines, not in the sense of borders, but in a deeper sense, slower and far less often named. You are made of galactic matter, not as poetry, not as a healing metaphor, but as physical fact. The atoms in your body were not born with you. They did not appear to serve a human life. They existed long before Earth formed, long before there was any idea of life at all. The carbon in your cells was forged in the cores of stars. The oxygen in your breath was released when massive stars reached the end of their lives. The iron in your blood came from violent events the universe passed through long before memory existed. You are not standing outside the galaxy looking in, you are inside it. And not only inside in the sense of location, but inside in the sense of composition. The Milky Way is not just the sky above your head. It is a material history that continues inside every one of your cells. Carl Sagan once wrote in Cosmos, "We are made of star stuff." That sentence does not need further explanation. It does not ask to be expanded, because it is not trying to persuade, it is simply describing. And when you allow yourself to stay with that description long enough, something subtle happens. The distance between the listener and the universe begins to dissolve. There is no sharp boundary between inside and outside, no moment of transition, only a very gentle continuity. Philosophy has long tried to speak about this continuity, not with equations, but with feeling. Baruch Spinoza wrote in Ethics, man is a part of nature, not something set apart from it. What modern science adds is a quiet precision. This belonging is not only philosophical, it is structural. The atoms in you were once part of molecular clouds. They were compressed by gravity. They took part in nuclear reactions inside burning stellar cores. They were expelled when those stars died. They drifted through space for millions of years before becoming part of Earth and then part of you. There was no leap, no severing, only flow. Humans often ask where they come from as if searching for a single beginning. But in the universe, there is no absolute beginning in that sense. There are only stages within a much longer process. Martin Heidegger wrote in Being and Time, "Being is always the being of an entity. Existence is always the existence of something somewhere within a context. And your context is far wider than daily life usually suggests. This does not make you small, it places you accurately. You do not need to reach toward the universe to have meaning, you are already part of it. A A silent connection is happening right now as you hear these words and your body begins to soften. No signal is required, no response, no confirmation. Just as gravity holds galaxies together without asking to be felt, this connection does not need to be vivid to be real. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "All things are interwoven with one another." That interweaving is not loud, not demanding. It does not require you to feel anything special. It only asks that the idea of separation gently loosen. When you feel tired, it is not because you are not enough. It is often because you are trying to live as if you were completely independent of everything else. But the galaxy has never worked that way. No star forms alone. No structure exists in isolation. Every shape is the result of relationships stretching across immense time. Sleep in this light is not a disconnection. It is a return to the shared rhythm. When you sleep, personal consciousness steps back. Boundaries soften, and the body remembers how to exist without constant intervention. Epicurus once wrote, "Accustom yourself to believing that death is nothing to us, not to deny life, but to remind us that we do not need to cling to every moment for it to matter." So where do you come from? You come from processes that never asked whether you were ready. You come from stars that completed their roles long ago. And now, in this temporary form, you are allowed to rest. Not as a separate individual facing the universe, but as a very small part returning to balance. As this chapter settles, there is no conclusion to hold on to. Only a very light feeling that you do not need to search for belonging. You already belong. The galaxy does not need you to understand it in order to continue, and you do not need to fully understand your origin in order to rest. Between the listener and the universe, there has always been a silent connection. And right now, you may let yourself drift into sleep without carrying any more questions with you. After having traveled very far through immense structures, through time scales beyond memory, through questions of origin and future, this journey does not end with a new discovery. It slows. Like a vessel gradually reducing speed, not because it has reached an edge, but because there is no longer a need to keep moving. Everything that needed to be seen has been seen enough. Everything that needed to be heard has been heard enough. And now you may rest. You do not need to carry knowledge with you. You do not need to remember concepts. You do not need to hold on to the names of structures that drifted past in the night. The galaxy does not require your understanding in order to continue. The Milky Way keeps turning. It does not turn faster when you are awake. It does not slow when you fall asleep. It turned long before anyone asked questions. And it will continue turning long after all answers have grown quiet. There is a deep comfort in this, that the world does not depend on your attention, that you do not need to guard the order of the universe with your consciousness. Epictetus once wrote in the Enchiridion, "Don't demand that things happen as you wish, but wish that they happen as they do happen, and you will go on well." Sleep in that sense is not a letting go of responsibility. It is an act of trust. Trust that there are structures supporting you, even when you are no longer awake enough to notice them. Trust that the body knows how to rest. Trust that the mind knows how to soften when it is no longer being pushed. You do not need to take with you the things you have heard on this journey. They were not spoken to become baggage. They simply opened a space and then gently dissolved when they were no longer needed. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Give yourself a gift the present moment. This moment, as you lie here, as the breath grows steadier, as the boundary between thought and sensation begins to blur, is already enough. There is no need to compare it to anything else, no need to attach it to a greater purpose. The galaxy does not ask what you have learned. It does not test your memory. It does not expect you to carry a complete awakening. It simply continues. And you, a very small part of that movement, may allow yourself to stop. Stopping does not mean standing still forever. Stopping means blending into a different rhythm. Sleep is that rhythm. When you sleep, you do not leave the universe. You only step out of the role of observer. Carl Jung wrote in The Structure and Dynamics of the Psyche, "The unconscious is not just evil by nature, it is also the source of the highest good." When consciousness retreats, deeper layers begin their work, quietly, without instruction. Like the galaxy itself, they do not need your supervision to fulfill their role. Along this journey, you may have felt very small, but this is not a lonely smallness. It is a smallness placed in the right position. You are not standing outside the universe looking in. You have always been inside it. And that inside is not unfamiliar. It is home. Not because you understand everything, not because you control anything, but because you do not need to go anywhere else to belong. The galaxy continues to turn. Stars are born and fade. Orbits keep time with one another in silence. There is no grand finale, no final message that must be remembered. Only a very gentle truth that you are allowed to rest without missing anything important. Epicurus once wrote, "He who has peace of mind disturbs neither himself nor another." Tonight, you do not need to add anything to the world. You only need to stop stirring it with unnecessary worry. If there is one thing that may remain very softly, it is this feeling that whether you are asleep or awake, the galaxy is still there. And whether you remember or forget, you still belong to it. This journey does not end. It only settles. Like the cabin lights slowly dimming, like a voice growing quieter, more distant. You do not need to keep your eyes open. You do not need to keep your thoughts alert. The galaxy continues, and you are home.